Try again.
The only thing we have to
Beer.
is
Beer.
itself.
Beer. So many choices.
Only no function beer well without.
Woohoo! Beer!
Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Busters. We'll bring you the news and reviews of your favorite brews. My name is Dan Baker, joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Hefner.
and the Demented and Fermented,
Wayne Baker.
You know, there was a time where we had our featured guest on every episode for like 5-6 episodes for a while in the beginning of the end of days. And that can only mean that we have the, I'm going to say it, official fourth Beer Buster. Mr. Kevin Keller is here. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Damn, I stripped the unofficial title already?
I mean, I think we officially declared it at the beginning of the pandemic when you were on every episode, which, by the way, again, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. You kept me sane and kept my wife sane. So
Well, that's good. That's good. I'd like to think...
We provide a variety of services here.
I'd like to think we kept ourselves sane with that, too, and hopefully we helped keep some familiar topics and conversations going for people out there that are listening.
Absolutely.
All that to say, it is still the end of days, and hopefully, you know, your sanity is still not fleeting. But even if you feel like it is, I never said this on the podcast, go to therapy. Therapy's great. We can all benefit from therapy. It's amazing, and I hate that it took me forever to go to it, but I've been going for years. Do it. Go to therapy.
Therapy, not a sponsor?
The whole industry. Beer Busters is brought to you by the entire industry of therapy.
I'm actually starting therapy next week.
Are you really?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's going to be amazing.
So there you go. Hashtag not a sponsor, but yeah.
Jeez.
Back to beer.
Well, if you want to see, we'll get the housekeeping out of the way. If you want to follow along and see all the shenanigans and such, you can follow on such platforms as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where we are at Beer Busters. There is Facebook, where we are Beer Busters Podcast. Don't forget beerbusterspodcast.com, where you can add cool things like /shop. There's YouTube, where we're Beer Busters Podcast. And there's also patreon.com/beerbusters, where as little as $1 a month gets you access to cool behind-the-scenes feeds, and you have the archive of punishment videos and all sorts of other goodies. All for as little as $1 single dollar.
It's worth it. Totally worth it.
It is.
Did I say my name?
You did?
You did say your name.
I did.
Yes.
Yes, we've
Okay.
done that already.
Well, I was very confused because I could not hear the intro music at all. I don't know why. And I was trying to create an Instagram post to say that we were recording with Kevin and to also promote his fest. And I was inserting the link to buy tickets. It was a very complicated post. And Ryan from Poor Man's was responding to my message. So there was a lot going on. And then I had a moment where I was sitting here listening to Ramble On, and I'm like, did I even say my name in the intro?
Yes, we were released on the rails for like 30 seconds.
What part of the
Okay.
podcast are we at now? Is it time for Know Your Beers?
Well, that brings us to the Etno.
But we did kind of broach the subject,
Yes.
and I feel like we mentioned how Kevin became our fourth Beer Buster at the beginning of the pandemic, and I think one of the things we talked about back then, I don't remember exactly when, but it was right around then, was the thing that's finally happening and the reason that we're having this episode, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, longtime listeners of the show know Kevin Keller from many projects that he does with the beer industry and adjacent to. And of course, somebody who has such talents like that, it's only a matter of time until they take those talents out on their own and they go to do their own thing. Kevin Keller, as we did mention a couple of years ago.
Humbly shaking his head
Yeah,
no
right?
at his many talents.
Yeah, I know. Don't sell yourself short, man. This is super impressive. We mentioned it back then. I'm sure we're going to talk a little more about it tonight, but you have Prototype Brewery. Is it still Brewery and Meadery? Is that still the plan?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we still trying to do both. So
Nice. No, that's great. I mean, it's a cool way to kind of bridge a little bit of a gap. And we did mention it back then because we were finding out that this fest that you wanted to do was in the process of being postponed, rescheduled, and Lord only knew when it was going to happen. Well, it's finally happening 2 years after the fact. So we're going to start off with it. When is your highly anticipated fest?
yeah, so the fest will be on Saturday, April 30th. From I don't know my
12 to
calendar.
4. I wrote it down. 12 to 4.
Yeah, 12 to 4. So We have two ticket levels. We have general admission, which is actually 1 to 4, and then early entry, which is 12 to 4. You get an extra hour to drink, and you can, make sure you try what you want to try before it sells out. Not sells out, but whatever.
Kicks.
Yeah, that. We're holding it at the Zembo Shrine in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's a historical building built in the 1920s, late 1920s. Has a ton of Moroccan-inspired architecture. So you walk in. We were just there the other day, and I hadn't gone into the entrance area. The entire entrance area is this vaulted ceiling that's all hand tiled. All the tiles were hand painted and everything. Like, it's beautiful. And it's kind of a forgotten building in Harrisburg. But just the auditorium alone is 7,000 square feet, plus all the other rooms in the building that we have access to. So we have a lot of space. I think we're up to 45 breweries right now, and we're kind of just moving along from there.
What made you choose that spot? I don't know that I've ever even heard of this building before you guys announced that the fest was going to be there.
So we were going to do it at Club XL last time, which greatly limited our space. That we could only have so many people, so many breweries, and it was going to get really freaking hot in that building with so many people in there too. So it would have been probably uncomfortable. And we wanted to give it a little more character. So we looked at a couple different spots. We looked at City Island. And then we decided that the end of April could bring some sporadic weather. So, we needed to find something in the greater Harrisburg area with enough space to fit 40 plus breweries up to, we can fit over 1,000 people in that building if we wanted to, which we're not going to, but I had gone there for events in the past, kind of forgot about it, and kind of went back and forth with the guys, like, we don't have a venue. How are we going to do this? And my brother was like, hey, they had a cheer competition there. I was like, that's perfect. So much space. They have free parking. It's in a part of town that the street parking's free. There's not a ton of traffic. So it all just kind of fell into place.
Very cool. I just to rewind a little bit, because like we mentioned that this was sort of in planning right when the world started to shut down, which feels like forever ago now, but it's still happening. So I'm just curious, like, maybe recap a little bit what your plan was then, and then like how it has changed now that it's been delayed 2 years.
Yeah. So we were planning on having the fest on April 4th, 2020. And we had a lineup of about 43 breweries all throughout the country. A lot of them are returning, which was awesome. We were just we announced Prototype. When we announced the fest, no one knew who we were. And they kept seeing more and more world-class breweries joining the ranks and pouring at the fest. And people are like, who the heck are these guys? Like, they have a little bit of street cred behind them. So it was kind of fun being in the shadows a little bit. But we went into it, and we were just going to it was our kickoff to our brand, and a celebration of what Prototype can and will become. And, unfortunately we canceled it 2 days before the world shut down, just out of sheer concern for not only our patrons, but the brewers that were flying in from California, Florida, Kentucky, all over the place. So we just, that's kind of how everything fell into place before.
Are there still plans for a lot of these brewers to fly in I know a lot of times when there's a local fest and there's beers from places around the country, typically it's like a volunteer or a rep that's serving the beer. But knowing you, I don't think that's going to be the case with this fest.
Yeah, it's about 50-50. You know, one of the tough things about the spring is that we're running into every weekend there's a heavy hitter fest somewhere. I actually moved our fest back a week because there's a brew fest down in Miami called Irie Jungle that Trippin' Animals puts on that everyone goes to. So I was like, I don't want to compete with those guys out of respect. So we ended up moving it back a weekend, but a lot of people were just like, I can't commit to traveling 3 weekends in a row. So we have about 20 breweries that aren't coming, that aren't sending folks to pour, but otherwise there should be someone there from each brewery.
So then what was obviously, I don't know, when it was originally canceled, did you kind of have your sights set on, okay, next spring? Or was it like maybe in a few months? Or like, what was the process? Like, how many times before you're like, you know what, I don't know when this is going to happen?
Well, you guys had originally rescheduled it for the end of the summer 2020.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I do remember that now. Now that you mentioned
it. So we rescheduled to August 23rd or something like that. One of the last weekends in the summer. And we started planning it. And we got to a point where we weren't comfortable moving forward with getting people together. Like the beer fest scene didn't come back for a very long time. I think it was until spring of 21 till I saw one of the major fests, come back alive. And that was, I believe, Wake Fest last year. So, we just, again, for the safety of everyone, and with all the unknowns, it was just in the best interest of all of us to take a step back and wait to start planning until we were comfortable at that time to host something.
Are there any details of the fest that you've had to consider that perhaps pre-COVID you wouldn't even thought of having to deal with when planning a fest?
Well, I would imagine there's no more communal trough of beer, right?
I mean, there's just a big bucket in the middle that you scoop out some jungle juice. Yeah, I mean, when we first started planning back in the fall, we still had mandates between vaccine mandates, mask mandates, all that, even capacity mandates. So we've had to stay nimble there. And the decision we made was whatever the local municipality and the local, the state mandates are going to be, that's what we'd follow. We're going to have hand sanitizer available and all that, just to be, for folks that want to use it, just have that available.
Yeah. I feel like that's the sort of thing that, like, we're seeing a lot of the guidelines and mandates being relaxed now. I've been in stores without a mask a few times now. Feels weird, but I've done it. But I think that sort of thing, like expecting there to be sanitizer around, expecting people to like take those precautions we all should have really been taking all along, washing our hands more and all that stuff. I feel like at the very least, hopefully one positive legacy that comes out of all of this is that at events like this, like that sort of thing, having sanitizer available, being more conscious of like, not cross-contaminating people's glassware and stuff we should have been doing, but,
Yeah, and also, I mean, we're not packing that building to the gills. Like, we could fit, I think their fire code is like 1,500 people or something just in the auditorium alone. We're getting to maybe a third of that, a little over a third for everything. So, we're just, it doesn't make sense to pack everyone shoulder to shoulder, give everyone some breathing room, that they're not on top of each other. Not only for safety, but for comfort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice to go to a beer fest that is like got enough people to be fun, but not like shoulder to shoulder. It's not fun to go to a beer fest that's been like a failure and no one showed up. That's kind of a bummer. But like if you go to a fest that like sold the right, like when we used to do Brewery a lot, that was one of the nice things about that, was that they deliberately limited capacity lower than what they could physically accommodate, just to make the
Yeah.
fest a little more intimate, a little more enjoyable. So I do appreciate that, even from not a healthcare
Yeah.
consideration, just from, like you said, for comfort.
I'm sure we've all been to fests that have been so packed that the line to get your next beer is, much longer than it should be, which, it's like you said, I appreciate you doing that.
The more people that are there, the more chances somebody might vomit on the floor, and you might step in it. The bigger the fest, the raucouser it gets.
Ruckuser?
Raucouser.
Raucouser? Note to
Yeah,
self,
I
don't
mean-
puke on the
Well,
floor.
I just appreciate it because you think about, I've been to a few concerts now since COVID, and I still wear a mask because I still feel kind of uncomfortable being in a room with all of those people. So it is, kind of comforting to know, like, okay, I can go to a beer fest, but it's not going to be slammed wall to wall with people. I'm going to have some space. And I imagine with the venue you chose, you said there's multiple rooms that it
Yeah.
not is. So will all the breweries be in / meaderies be in one central area? Or are you going to have them spread out in different rooms at the venue?
So we split it. The venue's set up so you walk in the main doors and you go up kind of a corridor to a hallway that splits the auditorium on one side, and the other side is called the tile room. We're gonna have food on one side and beer on the other. But they'll have tables set up in the food side that people can go, sit down, get off their feet. And we're gonna have the DD area over there, I believe. We're still kind of trying to figure out some logistical stuff with all that. But
Is it just going to be a pen with all the DDs off on their own?
yeah,
Like their own little playpen area?
Free range.
As long as there's free Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Free Wi-Fi,
Exactly.
like some free snacks.
No, you gotta take care of the DDs. It's always
of
nice
course.
when you go to a fest and you see like root beer floats just for the DDs.
Hell,
or,
I'm not
like,
a DD, and I would love root beer float.
special food and accommodations. That's always really cool to see.
yeah. We're one of our partners at Prototype is a coffee roaster out of the Midwest called Spring Heel Jack. Those guys are going to send out some coffee that we're going to have available to everyone. It's stuff I drink in the morning, so I'm super stoked for it.
Yeah, I saw you post something about that the other day, and I was surprised to see that they were from, like, what, Ohio or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very intrigued. I'm glad you're going to have them there because I really want to try that coffee.
Yeah, they did a blend for the last podcast on the Left crew, which that's why
Ooh.
I purchased it. And then I was like, holy shit, this coffee is really fucking good. So I've been, at once every other month, I'll get a bunch of stuff from them. But
So you're saying you're on the same level as last podcast on the left?
no,
we're in the midst of royalty here,
no.
in the presence of royalty.
What are you doing on our show?
Right. Second to
Those
last podcast on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other food vendors are going to be there?
So the venue actually does their own food.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
I am super stoked about that. I don't have to deal with it.
I bet.
That was the one big difference from the last time we did it. We were going to have one of my good friends has a barbecue truck in Maryland. He was going to drive up, and then the Love Draft guys were going to set up their truck. And it was going to be outside in the parking lot from the venue. This is going to be in the venue. They do concessions they actually have a circus inside this building once a year. So they know how to pump out a shit ton of food. And it's like snack bar-y stuff, but like burgers, dogs, beer fest food.
Perfect. Pretzels.
Yeah.
I'm assuming pretzels will be there because they're like obligatory at every beer fest.
Always pretzels.
yeah.
Yes.
Not that it's a bad thing. Everybody loves pretzels, especially in this area.
No, for sure.
Now, for
So we've been talking for a while, but I feel like we really should talk about the lineup of breweries because I think that's sort of what separates this fest from others. Because I feel, Kevin, that you're trying to create something that's just not another beer fest. Like, knowing you for so long, I know that you have personal relationships with a lot of the people from a lot of these breweries. And as you sort of alluded to earlier, when you guys, nobody really knew who you were, but you were, listing all of these reputable breweries and, making people raise an eyebrow. It is quite an impressive lineup and a unique lineup that, it has a share of local breweries to our areas, but a lot of sought after breweries around the country. So it's sort of exciting to know that you can buy a ticket and experience all these different breweries in one place.
Steph,
So you said you're up to 45.
I think you should try one of your patented "say all the breweries in one breath" moments.
They're not all. He's posting them on different. There's not like one list.
There's a
of
list
it.
on the Facebook page.
Yeah, I just,
Is there the list? I'm on Instagram.
Oh yeah, I was looking at the Facebook page.
yeah, I mean, the brewery list has been a long time, like building it out. And I think over the last 2 years, like we decided to kind of take a different approach at how we hand selected every single brewery that's on here. And really it came down to every single one of these breweries has gotten us to where we are today. They have lended a little bit of, knowledge, advice. One of my fucking heroes in the industry is flying out for the fest. He's going to be pouring, which is super, super heartfelt and like humbling that he even would want to come out and pour at our little fest. So, but yeah, it's been fun putting this list together, but also again, super humbling that these guys would want to at least send some beer up and support us. So, we have a large conglomerate of Florida breweries coming up. Anywhere from I'm looking at my list here, Ardwolf out of Jacksonville, Ology, Civil Society, Trippin' Animals, Dream State. So those guys are coming up or sending beer out on the West Coast. Great Notion, Bottle Logic are sending some stuff as well. But a lot of Pennsylvania breweries. I wanted to keep. I actually had a quota of 50-50 ish PA to non-PA. I know we still want to support the breweries in the state. So, but yeah, my again, Against the Grain is Jerry's one of my heroes of the industry. So just to have him come out, literally just text me like 5 minutes ago, tell me what beer you're bringing. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
awesome. It's we've known you for a long time. You've been on the show a lot. We've been to a lot of events with you, and we know the work you've put into the industry. We know what you bring. And so it's not surprising to see all of these breweries like willing to support, willing to come out, and participate. And it's great that now, finally, after much delay, also like the public and, your potential prototype customers are going to see that like, this isn't just like another guy who homebrewed who's going to open a brewery. Like, you're the legit thing. Like, you can build a powerful, I think, business in the industry. And we know that. And like putting something together like this is a chance to show more of the public that as well. So that's really cool to see.
Are you going to be teasing any of the beers that some of these breweries are going to bring, or is it going to be, you got to come to find out?
Yeah, well, we're going to have I don't want to call it an app, but there's a developer that has put together a tap list website that you can go to. It's prototype.taplister.com. I'll send it to you guys so you can put it in the description.
Good idea.
But so it's really cool. He did it for Lidditz Beer Fest, and he has one for Pizza Boy that you can go on at any time, and it has their entire list, and you can click on each beer and it takes you to the Untapped landing page that you can check the beer in directly from that.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, nice.
So this tap list will live beyond the fest, so you can go back and be like, oh yeah, I had that. Let me click it, rate it, and then you're good to go. So we're going to have that hopefully as beers start flowing in from the breweries that are going to be pouring. I'm going to get that list updated in real time.
Very cool. That's a really neat resource to have.
Yeah, it's one thing. It's one resource that I don't see many fests doing, and I think like Hibernation used to give you the booklet that you could write in and everything. but people lose them. You get drunk at Beer Fest. Let's be real.
I have never been drunk at Hibernation.
Not at Hibernation, no.
But it'll be cool that they'll be able just to click the beer and it takes them to Untapped. You don't have to go and type in the wrong name 15 times. So I think that'll be a great add-on from what we're doing.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty easy thing to implement, given it's not hard to make a customized app these days. It's not hard to find somebody who can, who obviously you have someone, to add that sort of extra dimension to an event like this and have it directly. I mean, I don't use Untapped. I'm not a check in every beer kind of guy, but a lot of people are. So having it linked directly is pretty cool. I feel like you could do QR codes too at each stand, where you could just like scan the code and it would take you right to that beer.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody's thought of that.
idea.
You can print them directly off of Untapped. Hibernation at the last year that they had that fest, which is really cool. Caveat: QR codes didn't always work and took you to the wrong landing page sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yep.
So looking at the list, there are some very Kevin Keller breweries on here. Like, and it makes me think like OG Kevin Keller, like breweries that you've just like been in love with, like Great Notion, Against the Grain. Like that's like, those are two, like when I think of first meeting Kevin Keller and talking beer, like I remember going to Portland and buying a Great Notion sticker just for you. I remember that. But I also love like the new breweries that I think we're all jamming. Like, first of all, I'm so excited Dancing Gnome is on here because they are making some killer lagers and killer like English style beers right now. They are like at the top of Pittsburgh breweries for me right now. I'm really excited about I love that Bottle Logic is on here. I haven't been there in freaking forever. But there's also breweries on here that I've never been to at all. Like, I didn't even know Fun Guys. I didn't even know who they were until I saw you post about them. Burnish, I'm really excited. I've never been there. You have a few down in that general, what do you call that, mid-Atlantic area that are going to be here.
Yeah, and you know, the Cushwa guys are down in that Maryland area.
Yes.
Aslan's down there. Species X is a really cool brewery. That is an offshoot of Aslan, kind of. It's their head brewer, Bo. He's doing like GMO type things with the yeast and the grain and all this crazy stuff. It's beyond my bandwidth. But like just some of the stuff he's using in his beer, like the science he's using behind the beers is insane. He poured beer for the first time ever at the Aslan anniversary party. And I go over, I was just bullshitting with him, I've known him forever. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to try your stuff. He's like, try this, tell me what you taste. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, this tastes like straight cantaloupe. And he goes, that's from the yeast. Like, I was blown away. He's like, I didn't add shit to this. Like that's all coming from this, you know, thing that he did with the yeast. It was crazy. And that's their thing. They use science to, you know, break the boundaries of brewing.
Where is Short Throw Brewing?
So Short Throw, interesting story behind them. So that's Brandon Tolbert, or BT, they call him, from formerly The Answer. So he broke off. He was going to open a brewery called Safety Team, which that didn't come to fruition, but he is brewing out of 12% up in Connecticut. But they're technically out of Richmond.
Ah, I see. I don't even, who's Beach Street? I've never heard of them either.
Beach Street unfortunately can't make it.
Oh, bummer. Well,
Yeah.
for future reference, I've never heard of them.
Beach Street's a newer brewery out of Western PA. Getting off the ground, kind of like us.
Nice. I'm excited
That's
that Hidden
really
River is
cool.
on the list. I haven't had anything from them in a long time.
They were a surprise. Like I invited them. You know, they're one of our like the local heroes for me.
Yeah.
I took a shot in the dark. I was like, screw it. Like, well, let's see if they can make it. And you know, they shot me a message back. They're like, hell yeah, we'll send some beer. So
That's great. Yeah, good
yeah,
people
so-
there. I mean, we recorded there years ago, and
Yeah.
I always like the beer. Whenever anybody mentions them, I'm like, yeah, dude, their beer's amazing. Of course,
Really cool spot, too.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I was talking to somebody about their spot a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Have you been there since they installed the new brew house? When we were there, last time we were there and Kevin was actually there, he took us into the brew house and gave us a little tour. And it is a really awesome building. Of course, I want to be in there when he's actually brewing because I feel like the whole thing just fogs the hell up. But it's a really, really cool looking building. And he is just like killing it with, continuing to make the hazies, which, he's done so well. But they also have some really great lagers on, and that is just a fun spot.
Yeah.
We're lucky, those of us that live in this area, to have super cool spots like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pre-gamed a wedding at Hidden River, so that was fun.
It's a good place
We
to
grabbed
pregame.
we grabbed a 6-pack of Pilsner to take with us, and I walked out to my car several times to drink Pilsner because it was the best beer available. Yeah, their lager game, Pilsner game's just absolutely incredible.
Nice. Steph, you mentioned the hazies. Speaking of hazies, New Trail will be there. Of course.
Imprint.
Yes.
Of course.
Yep. Another one I'm interested to see is Ingenious is going to be there.
Yeah.
I still have
so
a
that
couple
was
cans
fun.
of their stuff in my fridge, courtesy of patron extraordinaire James.
They're an interesting story. So the one owner, I think it's Justin, was actually a doctor at the Hershey Med Center for a long time
Oh, cool.
before he started the brewery. And then Nate Bell, who used to brew at Pizza Boy, moved down there to be a brewer there. So
Oh, cool.
Nate's flying home, bringing some beer, and it'll be
That's
cool.
awesome. I took some of those cans to a friend, had some people over in her backyard, and their beers were a hit. I mean, they have, really cool references, and, people who like the hazies love those beers. That's awesome. Are there any, so I know, we're kind of getting down to game time for the event, and it's, as of recording, a couple of weeks away. Are there any breweries that, like, you're still hoping will sign on, or are you, is it shut down? What you got?
I mean, I just got, so outside of what was announced today, I have a meadery that we're working on, just kind of getting the final logistics on that. And a brewery out of Richmond, possibly, and then one other. We could go, I think we can fit about, I figured logistically we could fit about 75 breweries in the air, in the 2 rooms, but we're just we're at our max, A, budget wise, and B, we don't want to get too much liquid in that building. There's a finite amount that we want to bring in there. So
True. Speaking of amounts of liquid in there, and I promise this is not the segue I meant it to be because now this sounds weird. Important question for Beer Fest. What's the bathroom situation like?
surprisingly better than I originally thought.
Nice.
So there's, with it being a built as a venue, they have a pretty robust bathroom facility.
Wait, hold on. Did you just say the phrase robust bathroom
Yep.
facilities?
Yep.
I love it. I love it.
If you don't have a robust bathroom facility, what are you doing?
Someone write that down.
I'm
Oh,
writing
we
it
both
down now.
are.
Dan and I are both writing it down. I also wrote down amounts of liquid in there. Might come up again. Who knows? But yeah.
Sorry, I genuinely want to know the answer to this question.
But it's bathrooms
sounded
like
that fabulous
parking
space out.
are like a thing you may not think of right away, but it's actually really important.
Yeah. The emergency amenities are super important.
Emergency amenities.
But no, yeah, there's 3 parking lots that are owned by the venue, so no problem with parking. It's all free, and more than ample amount of bathroom facilities, which is great. And then, out off the front of the building too, there's a little patio area if people need to go out and smoke or just get some fresh air. They'll be able to go out and take in the nature of. Wow, I don't know where I was going with that.
The nature of the nature.
The nature of North
uh,
3rd Street in
down-
Harrisburg.
down
Yes.
here.
So just stand there and regard the scenery.
There is. If you want to stand out on the porch and look, there's an obelisk
Ooh.
right across the street. Yeah, the strangest fucking thing in Harrisburg. Obelisk.
I
think
like
you
a good
were
obelisk.
telling me about that recently. It might have been you. Yeah, and I didn't know that was a thing that existed. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And there it is.
I don't know why it's there.
Somebody
You
does.
could say that about most things in Harrisburg.
Somebody knows why it's there.
So if this, obviously we mentioned this has been delayed years. Is there anything that you thought of during the delays and postponements that you've added to the fest that you wouldn't have thought of before, that you really thought like, hey, this is going to be great?
Not on the surface. It's more logistical stuff.
That's cool. You
on
could
the
also,
backside.
yeah, you could roll with the gut. That's perfect. You got to go with the gut sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of fests that I know the do's and don'ts
True.
from a brewer's standpoint, or like someone that's pouring, like, you know, brewers' bathrooms. You don't have to wait in line. You can just go take care of your come back. You know, like kind of a green room that they can go and, you know, get a coffee or a water and kind of take a breather. Where the beer list is a little more curated, that the last time I was just kind of like bring whatever. But this time around, I told breweries, I said, they were like, hey, what do you want? What do you want us to bring? I said, bring 2 beers that are different, but that represent your brewery the best. And like Old Thunder, which is Robbie and Zach that used to brew at Brew Gentlemen out of Pittsburgh. They're sending lagers, which I am super stoked about. And that's just something they're super proud of is their lagers. And that's what I want our fest to be about, is like showcasing what these breweries are proud of, the beers they're proud of, and what showcases or what represents them the best.
Were there
When
any
you
special?
said that, I was a little nervous. I was a little nervous that everyone was going to send a fruited sour and a pastry stout. So I'm glad you mentioned Old Thunder there, because you do want to make sure that when you have a collection of breweries like this for an event like this, that there is a variety of offerings, and you don't want everyone serving a hazy IPA. I mean, you want to have something different, and it's a chance for, I like the way you worded that, because it is a chance for beer drinkers to maybe challenge their palates. Like, I paid this much money to get in the fest, and, you know, I'll drink anything, and maybe they'd be willing to try something that otherwise they would be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Were there any special requests that you made of any of the breweries? Any beers that you just definitely wanted to see there?
Not entirely. No, I'm not gonna have enough time to drink any beer that day.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Fair enough.
But you can share the wealth with some
But
of
what
your
did you
favorites.
ask them to bring for after the fest?
Yeah, right.
Oh, definitely.
A bunch of Miller
Manny.
High Life.
Course Banquet, but
Course Banquet. Okay. All right.
No, honestly, so we're gonna do like a brewer's dinner on Friday. I told everyone bring some beer to share, but we're gonna have just a ton of lager.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
Just so we're not destroying our palate.
That's a good idea.
What kind of food will be served at this brewer's dinner? I'm curious.
No,
Don't tell me hot dogs and hamburgers.
so Evergreen was gracious enough to host it, just because we don't have a physical location. And Norm and those guys are just absolutely great. So some stuff on their menu, they're gonna do like small bites and stuff. So yeah,
The food there is great. That's a good
yeah.
choice.
Yeah, their new head chef is amazing.
They have the second best hot chicken sandwich I've ever had.
That's saying a lot. He's had
It
a
is.
lot of
I've
hot
had
chicken
a lot
sandwiches.
Of fucking hot chicken sandwiches.
Where's your number one?
Howlin' Ray's, Los Angeles, California.
Not a sponsor.
Not a
Wait,
sponsor.
what about? I thought Mad Chef had one of your favorites.
I never got out to try theirs. They have great food in general, but I never got to try their
Oh,
version
right,
of a hot
that's
chicken
right.
sandwich.
So it might be the best in the world,
Who
and
knows?
you just don't know.
Yeah.
I would bet that it's the best in the world because it's Man Chef.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
But you've never been to Hattie B's.
I haven't.
Tragic.
I know. Nashville's on the list. Don't get me wrong.
I feel like you're not allowed to have a list of your favorite Nashville hot chicken sandwiches if you've never actually had a Nashville hot chicken sandwich.
These are the favorites so far.
Okay.
I know Hattie B's is the origin of the hot chicken sandwich. Howlin' Ray's is a favorite of many people. I know plenty of people are jealous that I've had it multiple times. I'm hoping.
I always have like a crisis every time I order a hot chicken sandwich because half the time they just come with smothered in fucking buffalo sauce.
That's not a hot chicken sandwich.
Exactly.
That's a buffalo chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I've had buffalo chicken sandwiches. I've never had a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. I'm not familiar with the craze.
I've been a vegetarian for close to 20 years, and even I know the difference between a Nashville hot chicken sandwich and a buffalo chicken sandwich.
What exactly? Actually, I don't. I can picture the taste of buffalo sauce and chicken right now.
Picture the taste.
Yeah, you know.
It's like Skittles. Taste the
Imagine.
rainbow.
I should have said imagine the taste. But what actually is a Nashville hot chicken? Like, what makes it distinct from buffalo?
So buffalo is a sauce that you toss it in after the fact. So you
Is it
fry
like a rub?
Yeah, basically, it's
Nashville?
like a rub
Okay.
that usually, like, you heat up some oil, put the
No.
spices and stuff in.
Oh,
there.
they're shaking their heads now.
Different places do different ways, but ultimately, like, it's a dry heat.
Right.
Rather
I
than-
understand what you mean. It's like
yeah.
It's Nevada.
So yeah, right.
it's Nevada. It's
Exactly.
a dry heat. Yeah.
Like I've made it at home, and I've seen it like at work. They make a really good one actually, which is strange.
So buffalo chicken sandwich is like
but
Florida.
the thing is, like the when I did it with oil, you fry it, but you also have the mix ready to go of oil and all the spices in there. And it's more spices than oil. It's just really to like dissolve
Right.
a little bit. Comes out of the fryer, and you immediately lather it in this oil. So the oil will still dry, but it leaves the spices behind.
Onto
So
it.
it is the dry heat.
That is accurate, but I would not call it a dry rub.
So it's not
That's
a dry
what
rub.
I'm
You don't
right, yeah,
dry
that was-
rub it. And
right.
then, okay.
Yeah.
But it's a similar.
But it does like
concept.
compared to a buffalo chicken sandwich, which is
So-
sopping wet in sauce.
What
Yeah,
makes
buffalo sauce is primarily butter and hot sauce.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like a Nashville hot chicken is oil, dry spices. Yeah, that's
And
about
that's it. So-
brown sugar occasionally.
If you want a little sweetness, when I made it, I was in there.
I mean, that was in there. So what makes a Nashville hot chicken sandwich is the specific spice mixture and the method of applying that
Yeah.
mixture, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know.
You should try one.
I will someday. I'll
go to
be
Evergreen
somewhere
and try one.
and have one. But yeah, I'm also not big on I don't do buffalo wings much or anything
Yeah.
like that. So I get heartburn really easily.
Oh yeah, there's that age creeping up.
Yeah, but I'll try one day. I know you have a Nashville chicken spice shaker thing.
Yeah, I haven't used that yet. I feel so bad.
Yeah. Well, I broke it. I'm sorry.
I mean the spices are still good.
Anyway,
That's what matters.
so I
As
wanted
long
to
as they're
say.
stored properly.
Yeah. We've talked an awful lot about the Prototype Invitational Beer Fest, but what about Prototype itself? Any updates on that front? Where when can we expect to drink some Prototype beers / meads?
Yeah, we've been doing. We poured at two fests now, two maybe. Yeah, two.
Two-ish.
We did one in Pittsburgh called Drink the Cookie Table, which was super fun. It was put on by the Fueled by Hops guys. We poured a smoothie sour and a Snickerdoodle Imperial Stout, and then a handful of different meads. That was our first ever time pouring our own beer and mead to the public. Went really well. Got a lot of good feedback from there. We poured at the Kushwa anniversary party in January. Again, some really good feedback there. We got to pour around a lot of really world-class breweries there as well, which was great. And then we've had our beer. We did a couple collabs. We did one with Vitamin C last summer.
Hey, we had that.
Yeah, you guys had it at the Lidditz Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And then we brewed a collab with Illusion, which they had a hazy IPA on tap down there. But kind of just primarily focusing on brewing collabs right now until the time's right to pursue our own venture. The meads we're just kind of doing on a test basis right now. So we'll be pouring some beer and meads at the fest. and just kind of really focusing on doing event planning and doing some collabs while we just build up the brand, build up some awareness. And again, when the time's right, we'll pull the trigger on doing something more.
Very cool. It's not surprising to hear you have a very level-headed and logical sort of business plan for bringing this brewery to fruition, because I don't think it's any secret that like everybody and their mom has just like opened a brewery in the last 5 years.
Yeah. And
like not everybody does it right, and a lot of people rush into it. And we've talked to a few people who have taken this similar approach of like, contract brewing, pouring at fests, collaborating, like building a brand for a couple of years so that when your brewery opens, people already know who you are. And it seems like despite the fact that COVID threw a wrench into things, that plan seems to be still going ahead, which is good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, God forbid it doesn't work out. We had fun doing it. We didn't pour our retirement, our life savings into it. Like, I just had a kid. I can't afford to pour, too much money into opening a brewery that, the industry is interesting right now. And I think it's about to take another turn and transform. COVID really accelerated a lot of what we were seeing from an expansion standpoint, from a distro standpoint, across the board. So kind of taking a step back, letting a year, I think 2022 is going to be an interesting year of everyone just figuring out what that new normal is, of what distribution, what taproom business is going to look like where we don't have restrictions. And being able to come out of 22 with a solid business plan of saying, okay, this is what we think the next 3-5 years are going to look like. And being damn sure that our plan is going to be successful, because right now I don't want to take that big of a swing with, retirement life savings. So
yeah, that's understandable.
Totally.
So what do you think the next 3 to 5 years are going to look like then? I mean, obviously it's tough to say for sure, and anything could happen, but I'm sure out of all of us, you have the most educated guess.
Yeah, it's interesting because out of necessity, we saw the amount of breweries distroing skyrocket.
Oh, for sure. They had to. Yeah. Super necessary.
And I don't blame a single one of them. But I also, we saw that shelf space got limited. So a contract only brand being brand new in the industry, your ease of entry into these bottle shops and beer distributors just became 1,000 times more difficult. Mm-hmm. And you see Rotation Nation of no beer being on tap 2 times in a row, or no brewery being on tap 2 times in a row, increase exponentially. So I think over the next couple of years, we'll see a bit of a retraction in distro, just because tap rooms are going to start reopening, and the amount of beer that people have is more valuable, honestly, being poured in their own tap room.
Yeah.
So
well, and to that point, Wayne, you had said along the way that, especially before the pandemic, the big draw was like being local and drawing people to the tap room. And you're right, Kevin, distribution had to be, it was necessary evil. This kind of lets everybody return to that. I mean, we've even seen some breweries down here that were delivering over the pandemic that are not anymore, whether it's just
sadly
logistically not possible or they want to get people to their tap room. I'm going to move more breweries now because that's
they're
the
not
way
coming
I can get
to
their
your
beer.
door. Yeah. It's interesting though, because that was the trend. I mean, from my limited perspective, that the breweries that were opening and the breweries that were like opening successfully in the run up to COVID were the breweries that were focused on taproom sales, not distributing, not packaging, and like making a destination, making an experience, having really good food, having a cool tap room, having amenities, having events and things like that. And just when that business model was like red hot, the pandemic happened, and that just couldn't happen anymore. So like that correction was like, I assume, like very whiplashy for a lot of people in the industry.
Yeah, and we're seeing kind of Pennsylvania is really a weird marketplace right now because over the last, has it been 10 years yet since grocery stores could have licenses? It's been more than 10 years.
It's been a long time.
Grocery stores have to have restaurant licenses.
Yeah.
So you're seeing, and the valuation of those restaurant licenses were, for Cumberland County, I believe we were encroaching on $1 million.
Holy shit.
Restaurant liquor license. So, and it was less than $100,000, a handful of years ago.
Well, is it true? And maybe I'm confusing this with something else, but don't they only give so many out?
It's by population, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a limit. Like the government or the state government puts like a cap somewhere.
Yeah, somebody equated it to me once as the same as like New York City taxi medallions or something, where they're so coveted because they're kind of rare and hard to get.
Yeah, so I mean, you saw a lot of grocery chains scooping up licenses. They were paying a premium for them, but once a grocery chain owned that license, the bars that used to have those licenses couldn't operate again as a bar. So they became like one around here became like a creperie or something, like a breakfast joint. So you're seeing a decrease in the amount of bars in the area. So it's a prime opportunity for, oh, hi cats. It's giving a prime opportunity for brewery tap rooms to kind of take over as that local haunt for people to go to and have a beer. But it also gives a little bit of a challenge to these breweries to expand their lineup and include a beer for everyone. Mm-hmm. And not a lot of breweries are really doing that, which I think is going to be super important moving forward.
It's interesting. And I don't know how, I mean, if a liquor license is a thing that every state does, or if it's just a Pennsylvania thing. I know liquor laws are state by state.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's some kind of licensing, but
yeah, it's definitely state by state. Like there's some states where you just fill out an application and they're just like, it looks good.
Yeah,
you can serve beer now. So
it amazes me how many things like this are state by state.
Well, that's our weird government. We have a weird system of government.
Ain't that the truth? But like you look at breweries that distribute between states. I mean, what kind of logistical and legal nightmare does that really present to them when they first broach the topic?
Distribution companies. That's their job to worry
exactly.
about that.
But what if? I mean, are there any breweries that self-distribute across lines? I don't know.
I'm sure big ones.
I would imagine. But
Maryland, you can self-distribute yourself. You just have to pay a fun little tax.
Of course, go figure.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can fill up your van, drive down to Maryland, fill out the right paperwork, and you can deliver it straight to their door.
That's cool.
Yeah. Same with DC's the Wild West. You just have to pay like a tariff. You can sell whatever.
I mean, I guess they kind of get away with that, not being a state and all.
Yeah, probably.
More weird government.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like we should play some kind of game.
Is it game time?
I think it is.
Does everyone have their game face on?
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know if I mentioned it on the air. I'm drinking Poor Man's House Lager.
Nice. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to grab that out of the fridge yet, because I know the caveat was save it for when we're recording with them, but we're going to be there, so I'm assuming it's fair game.
Well, as long as you're driving here, then yes, you can drink it whenever you want.
As long as
you're welcome.
As long as my car's oil change is done in time, yes, which it should be because that's Wednesday morning. If it's not, there's a fucking problem.
Wait, driving there? What? Are we going to Steph's on Friday first?
Are we going to your place?
No.
Okay.
I said here because I live near Poor Man's.
Yeah. I figured
okay.
you meant here as in like, towards you, aka the brewery.
I'm looking at some flowers.
I feel like I want another beer.
I'm now drinking.
Beer. Nice. We were drinking Pitter Patter from 3 Threes in Jersey. A friend of mine donated this to me when I went to his place. Ooh, what do you got?
I try to drink beers from breweries that are coming to the fest. So I have an Aslan double IPA called Witch Clock Tower. It's a collab with Mortalis.
Yeah.
And then I just opened a barrel-aged Moonlit from New Trail.
I have one of those in the fridge. I should have grabbed that.
We still have I still have the bottles of Moonlit that you got me, Steph, because I don't know. We don't really drink that much when we're recording because they're during the week now, and I don't want to drink one of those by myself.
There was one day where you wanted to open them, and I was like, there is no way I'm drinking half of that beer.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
do what you will.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't want to waste it. So I was like, sorry.
There'll be a day where they open.
Speaking of Aslan, do we know when the Pittsburgh location is opening?
Maybe.
Is that not for public ears to know?
What, that they're opening or when?
When?
I mean, I think they just started construction. I believe they're putting a brew system in there. So it's going to be a minute.
We were in Pittsburgh, what, November? That's when we were there, right? Yeah. And there was signage up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know they were trying to open in the fall last year, and it just, every brewery construction takes longer than it should. So
I feel like that's true of almost any construction.
Oh yeah.
Tubular.
Gnarly.
It's already getting into a construction. It's from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Random movie quote of the day. On that note, are we playing a game?
Yeah, sorry. nobody will care about this but me.
Fair enough. Cheers, Internet, and welcome to Happy Fun Time Games, the first podcast trivia segment on the right. We are joined today by our longtime friend, Kevin Keller. You know him. You love him. Now from Prototype Brewery, and Meadery, who will be competing against Dan and Steph for Happy Fun Time Glory. You know, a lot has changed in the world since we recorded episode 158 with Ethan Tripp at Fermentary Forum in late 2018. Today...
That was like the first episode after I broke my leg or something, wasn't it?
It was around there, I think.
Yeah. I was on medical leave then.
Yeah, we recorded in December 2018. It came out in January 2019. Today, we are returning to a game we have not played since that innocent long-ago evening down a shady back alley.
Is the green light on?
The Beer Cellar.
Oh,
yeah, everybody loves to hate this game, but I don't care. With, among other things, a civilization-rattling once-in-a-century global pandemic between then and now, I was curious if people were still selling sealed beers on the secondary market with as much enthusiasm as they were in the before times, and, well, yeah, they certainly are. For the uninitiated, this is a game where I will read you a listing from mybeerseller.com. How seller is spelled is up to you to figure out. A sort of gray market eBay for secondhand beer that operates in the dubious in-between space of online alcohol selling. In classic Price is Right style, you will each guess what the list price of each item is, and the closest, without going over, will receive a point. Now, to clarify the legal space we are operating in, all sealed beer products sold on the website are subject to these following guidelines. 1. All items are not available at any retail outlet, and the container value substantially exceeds the current retail price of alcohol in the container. 2. All items were released at least 12 months ago. 3. The container has not been opened, and any incidental contents are not intended for consumption. 4. The volume of the item is in the collectible container, not its contents, sort of the same thing. And finally, buyers and sellers both ensure that the sale complies with all applicable laws and regulations.
How do they get away with this?
that way.
I think because nobody really cares. It's the answer. That's how people get away with everything. If nobody cares...
I remember years ago, there were a lot of beer trading groups on, I guess, Facebook mainly, and they were really cracking down on that. And shutting down these groups, and I'm just surprised that this still...
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the website, mybeerseller.com, it's like, it's not a premier enterprise website. Let's just put it that way. Like, it's a little clunky. So I don't know how big of a following it has, and I sometimes wonder if doing this game on the podcast will blow up their spot and they'll get shut down. But I would actually think that was kind of funny.
I love how Kevin's emphatically shaking his head no.
If they haven't been shut down yet.
No.
They're probably ran by the government.
At this point,
oh, that's true. I mean, if they're not, they're getting the Beer Busters
by
bump.
the government and for the government.
It was just so much more dramatic with you putting your glasses back on while you said that.
Yeah.
I don't even know where your glasses came from, to be perfectly honest.
I know,
looked
right?
up-
It's like,
Right.
Like,
Okay, I'm
These
glad
are
it's not
my
just me.
computer. These are my computer glasses. I forgot to put them on earlier, so when I'm staring at this screen, my eyes don't melt out of my face.
I got the blue light filter on these, and never going back.
Yep, that's what these are. I had LASIK, so I don't need glasses. My
True.
vision is 20/20, and it has been since I had LASIK. Way longer ago than I like to admit, but yeah, these are for my protection.
LASIK also not a sponsor,
No.
just to clarify. Let's talk about some gems that can be found on mybeerseller.com. We will
Let's
begin
talk about gems, baby.
to my left, as we usually do, with a rendition of some classic Salt and Pepper. Dan is going to guess first. First up is a 250 milliliter bottle of 1985 Rodenbach Belgian beer.
85.
Best before February 1989 reads the 37-year-old classic Flanders Red,
I say the same thing about myself.
offered by the original purchaser, who says the beer has been cellar stored. They give a pretty tasty, rambling pitch about Rodenbach, a legendary Belgian brewery in West Flanders, synonymous with the Flanders or Flemish red style, founded 200 years ago, yada, yada, yada. He also goes on to say, I've had bottles dating back to the early 60s and never disappointed. But for this bottle from 1985, how much is he asking?
I don't even know where to start, how to start. $300.
Dan is saying $300.
I don't know.
Steph, what do you think?
Oh, Jesus. I don't like this game.
Right?
This is a terrible game.
It's a terrible.
But you seem to have the
terrible
most fun of any Happy Fun Time game when we play this.
I
That's
don't know
because
why.
he doesn't have to play it.
That's true. He gets to
That's
torture
true.
us.
I do enjoy this game, and I don't know why, because I know it's a bad game. Dan said 300.
250 milliliter bottle.
Correct.
Far did I
People
push it?
like to buy old shit, and that's
Technically,
really
I-
old shit.
Technically, I think it's at 25 centiliters, but
What did he say? 300.
Mhm.
I'll say 350. I won't be a bitch.
350. All right, we got 300. We got 350. Kevin,
He's gonna say 351.
$3.50.
$3.50. Kevin is the closest,
Of course.
without going over, because the actual price was a mere $95.
I was gonna guess 150, so I'm glad I didn't.
I really thought you were going to pull the $1, and I was going to be like,
Yeah, I
Good
kind
play.
of did too.
Good
It was
play.
either going to be $1 or $351.
Yep, $95 for a beer from 1985. A Flanders Red. I would drink it. That would be interesting. I don't know if it would be any good.
I want to know storage conditions.
Yeah, well, we're going to
I
have
guess
another.
That's not part of the description, since the liquid inside the bottle clearly doesn't matter.
It was a dry heat.
Yeah, I mean, literally every listing on this site. I mean, there is just some straight up paraphernalia, like that isn't beer. But every listing that is a sealed container of beer, everybody's like, it's been properly cellar stored since I bought it. Like, everybody makes a point to say that. So this guy said it too. Whether it's true, I don't know, but that's what he said. Moving on to item number 2 up for bid, and Steph is going to guess first on this one. This is a 16-ounce bottle of Toppling Goliath 2021 KBBS. But there's more. It's one 16-ounce wax-sealed bottle of 2021 Kentucky Brunch brand stout with a wooden sleeve and a KBBS branded tulip glass. All brand new. How much for that lovely package?
$180.
$180. This game should just be pick a random number.
Basically.
Kevin, what do you think?
$400.
$400. And finally, Dan.
Going with a gut, I was going to come out with 150.
150. Wow. Dan and Steph lowballing doesn't pay off. Kevin is right again, because the correct answer is $650.
What in the fuck?
For a 16-ounce wax sealed bottle. It's not even like a big bottle. It's just a regular
People
size
need to
bottle.
get hobbies.
Yeah. Although the glass is kind of cool, but not for $650.
Oh, speaking of, I want to ask about this VIP glass at the Prototype Fest.
Oh, there's a VIP glass?
News to me.
Didn't it say on the website that there's a special glass for VIP members?
Yeah, I autograph every single one.
Well, then I'm buying a VIP ticket.
With a
Oh,
Sharpie,
yeah.
or is it etched
Or-
into the glass?
Oh,
Am I wrong?
gold Sharpie.
Gold
you might be
Sharpie.
right.
Is it gold ink, or are we talking like gold flake in the ink? Like just artificial gold, or...
Who the hell do you think I am, Dogfish Head?
Oh, man.
I don't have all that money.
I don't know where I got that from. I could have swore somewhere it said something about a bougie glass.
I mean, you did also say you haven't dipped into the retirement fund yet for the business. Maybe this is the chance.
I'm never retiring.
That's true. None of us are.
Well, your retirement on VIP glasses.
Yeah. Special edition tasting glass, but it says it under general admission, not VIP.
Everybody gets it.
Only general.
Everybody gets it, right?
Yeah, it's just kind of the standard taster glass.
You need to speak with more exuberance when it comes to this. One of a kind.
It's just the standard kind of glass,
tasting
guys.
glass that you can only get if you buy a ticket and attend this event. No one else will have it.
It's a Nito glass. Dang cats.
Moo is getting into something she shouldn't. I don't know.
Oh, the cats were doing dumb shit. I had to throw pens at them, so that was a good time.
I love how Dan had to get Moo's attention by opening the drawer behind him where her food is.
Used to be.
"What?"
I haven't kept her treats in there in years, and she still comes running.
She still comes running.
That's where I keep those patches of iced tea now.
Oh, right. We were playing a game. I know we're all like really invested in this game.
Currently playing, so we got to keep going.
We
I
got to
think
keep
we were
going.
all just trying to not play the game.
Yeah, well, there's only two more. Okay, we can get through it. We are on item number 3 of Forbid, and Kevin is going to guess first on this one and probably also get it correct. This is another 250 milliliter bottle of 1952 West Mall Belgian Trappist Double. From the seller, they say, quote, "This is one of the oldest bottles in my collection." Go figure. It is from 1952, and the bottle and fill level are great. Crown cap is easily legible, but does have some bad rust on one side, but not enough to harm the seal. Bottle is old style with Abdij Westmall raised letters embossed on the side. How much for that 250 milliliter bottle from 1952, Kevin?
$250.
Kevin's saying $250. Dan?
Oh, I thought I was last. My strategy now doesn't work.
Nope. I'm going
You
in
do one strategy, and I'll do the other one.
I was going to say I'm
And at
going
least
in
one of us will get a point.
the order I wrote the names down, not the order they're on the
I
screen.
know. That threw me off for a second. 251. Sorry, Kevin.
Dan going 251. All right, Steph.
$1.
There it is.
$1 wins it, but only just. It was $215.
Oh,
When
man.
Kevin said 200, I was like, he's going to say the exact fucking number, and then he said 50, and I was like, oh, so close. $215. This one, as you asked earlier, Steph, does give a little bit more description of the state of the bottle, mentioning the rust on the cap, but saying without saying, you can still drink it. So we have come to our final entry. Mercifully,
You didn't say penultimate this game.
I did not.
Oh.
Too many other things were happening. So we add up the scores real quick, see where everybody stands. No surprise, Kevin is in the lead with 2. I was going to say correct answers, but 2 points because they weren't correct. They were just closest. And Steph got that last one. Dan still has nothing. So we will go in the order of Kevin, Steph, Dan for the final item of the game, which is a 330 milliliter bottle of 2016
Really thought you were accidentally giving us the answer.
Orval Belgium Trappist. Orval Belgium Trappist. Yes, 2016 330 milliliter bottle sold by the original purchaser who says it was aged with loving care. They didn't say much else in the listing, but if you're curious, Orville beer is a high fermentation beer. Aging process adds a fruity note, which strikes a subtle balance between the beer's full-bodied yet complex flavor and bitterness. It was first brewed in 1931, mixed fermentation, 2016, 330 milliliters. Orville, how much? Kevin?
What year was it again?
2016?
16. Not nearly as old as the other ones.
Country of origin?
I don't actually have that here.
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, wait, isn't it all brewed in
Belgium?
Belgium? It's Orville. You threw me off. I was like, is there another brewery? Do they have like one in New York? Like, what's that? Yeah, no. Can you use it in a sentence?
Well, hold on. Did they brew any of it in New York?
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot. Yeah, I thought that's what you were
We're all
asking.
riding on this.
I thought you were actually asking an in-depth question I didn't know the answer to. And I was like,
I don't think they actually brewed it there. They just imported it, right? Omegang, right?
And what's the one?
Was it Duvel or Orville?
Orville.
Oh, that might have been. Oh, was that Duvel?
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. Cancel my.
Isn't
last
it Three
comment.
Floyds that's brewed in Belgium and New York? What am I thinking of? There is a brand. I can't think of it. Kevin, I'm still waiting for your answer.
I was still waiting. I don't know what's waiting on. Let's do $77.
$77.
Think? I feel like a 2016 bottle of Orville is not that hard to come across. Maybe I just have good friends that drink good beer. I'm gonna say like $29.
All right, we've got 77. We've got 29. Dan, what do you think?
I really feel like because it's you making the game, it's either going to be outlandishly expensive or wildly inexpensive. And I don't think there's a middle ground.
Okay.
$1.
$1 would be a solid strategy, but the answer is $35. So Steph is actually the closest.
God damn it, Steph!
And Kevin went over. Yes, that one can be had for a mere $35, which, if you're curious, is about the cost of shipping for all the other beers that were in the can. So we have not quite a German sparkle party, but a two-way tie for first place for this game. Kevin and Steph both with 2 points apiece. Dan, a big fat goose egg this time
That doesn't
around.
happen often.
It does not happen often.
It only happens when it's this fucking game.
And we'll play it again
Yeah.
in 4 years.
We will.
Yeah,
And
right.
if I might just game theory for a minute here, this is one of the few Happy Fun Time games where only one person can get every question right. In other games, multiple people can have the right answer
true.
for the
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
So if you're going to completely fail, especially when there's only 4 questions, you're going to do it on a game where you have to like be the right person or one of the 3 wrong people, 2 wrong people.
Are you trying to make him feel better for losing?
I'm just saying it's statistically more likely to happen in this game.
You can point and laugh, and I'll be fine.
There you go. There you go. There we go. Orville, brewed in New York City since 1931.
Debuted at the New York State World's Fair.
Thank you all for playing. If you're watching this video on the internet, thank you for doing that. This is the point of the podcast where we shout out to our most generous patrons on Patreon. We would like to thank the following individuals very sincerely, beginning with Jen McDonald.
There's a hot dog I have to grab.
PA Brew Review.
I'm driving me lorry, and I got the trots.
Eric Dixon.
Who's gonna get sprayed in the face?
Dana.
It was the most amazing thing in my life.
James Lamberg.
Yeah, I'm going with Jizz.
That was Kevin, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Mahoney.
Fuck you, you fucker.
Sean Sullivan.
Everybody pause.
Brian Mills.
That's a 10 for you, buddy.
Jill Chivers.
This is fire.
The one and only that is no baloney, Joe Mansell.
The one and only, that's no baloney.
Appropriate, Topher Simmons.
We never got it up.
And finally, Ben Mengel.
I think it's number 2.
If you want to find out how you can get your name on this list and other cool behind-the-scenes perks, please go to patreon.com/beerbusters to learn how that can happen. Cheers.
Say, Yvonne, remember when I said I'd have to send away to NASA to calculate your bar tab?
Oh, yeah. We all had a good laugh, Mo.
The results came back today. You owe me $70 billion.
You ever search for something online, and immediately after you hit enter, you think, oh God, I hope nobody sees what I just searched? That's why you need a VPN. Or maybe look at it this way. You know how uncomfortable it is when you use a public bathroom but the door doesn't lock all the way? And you think, oh God, at any second, anyone can burst in here and see my private business. Well, ExpressVPN is going to be the lock on the door that never fails you. They are consistently ranked as the number 1 VPN in the world. They're the fastest and the most secure and the easiest to use for VPNs. VPNs are just going to protect everything that you do online. Nobody's going to see your credit card information. Nobody's going to see your searches on WebMD for that weird rash that showed up on your foot. All of it is going to be secure. Added benefits are you can stream content from anywhere in the world. You want to watch something from the German Netflix library? Go ahead. You want to watch some British football, soccer, whatever you want to call it? You can do that too. You know those geo-restricted videos on YouTube? Oh, this is not available in your region. Not anymore. You get the last laugh. It's easy to use. It runs in the background on your computer, your phone, your tablet. It only takes one click to run. And remember, they are the #1 VPN in the world. It's secure, it's anonymous, nobody is going to see what you are doing, and all of your information is safe. If you want to see what all of the hubbub is about for a VPN, there's no better way to go than ExpressVPN. And this is why you need to go to tryexpressvpn.com/beerbusters. And when you sign up for a 1-year package through that website, you're going to get 3 months free. That's right. 1 year turns into 15 months. Again, that is tryexpressvpn.com/beerbusters. Protect your searches, transactions, and protect yourself. tryexpressvpn.com/beerbusters.
I thought it was Nessie at first, and I got excited.
Her name is Bronte.
You ever notice that now that we have good quality cameras, you don't really see pictures of the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. Same thing with Bigfoot.
Yeah, I know. He went into hiding. I'm very upset.
R.I.P.
Can that be the re-intro into the second part of this
Sure.
podcast?
Why the hell not? Why
Welcome
the hell
back.
not?
Did
And
you ever
we're back.
notice how? Oh my goodness.
Oh man. So Kevin, there was something I think we all wanted to bring up regarding the event. It's no secret, and for anybody who may have been listening to this podcast or following along with social media last year, we unfortunately lost our dear friend Bart to a very aggressive form of cancer. And of course, his memory lives on because we all have nothing but the best memories of him. He is. How did we say before? Happiness personified? Is that what we went with?
I mean, I don't know if that's the words we used.
Just a guy who always had a smile on his face, and the positivity is going to echo on for ages. But because you and Bart were very close, obviously you're going to honor him with this event, which is perfect. So why don't you tell everybody what's involved there?
Yeah. So Bart was honestly the driving force behind Prototype. He always pushed me to do more than I ever thought I could. He was our OG graphic designer. I am hobbling by right now doing graphic design, but nothing. All of our logos, everything we have, I can attribute to him. But one of the things I wanted to do, we had Prototype Fest 2020. That was a whole thing, but 2022. And moving forward, I wanted to dedicate Prototype, Brew Invitational, and Memory of Bart. And the one cool thing that Bart always did was he gave back to children with medical needs. And the Zembo Shrine is also part of the Shriners Hospital, Shriners Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. So perfect tie-in. We're going to donate a portion of the proceeds to the Shriners Children's Hospital in Bart's memory. Hopheads is actually co-hosting the fest. Nicole has been an amazing help, just with literally everything. And I can't thank her enough, but it was, I think, the least we can do to keep his memory alive, to keep Hopheads alive.
The man knew how to throw a party.
That is true. I was telling somebody about Hanger Jam the other day, and the Brass Monkeys, and of course how Bart wound up on stage with the Brass Monkeys, because of course he would. Of course he would.
Yeah, Nicole actually texted Wes and I the other day. The Brass Monkeys dedicated a song to him the other night at one of their concerts.
Oh, nice.
That's the video, which was just so fucking cool.
Oh, that's so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just, Bart knew how to throw a party, like you said, and we definitely want to kind of go in with a bang.
Yeah.
I feel like you need a moment in the midst of this fest where you're going to stop and do something very dangerous and dramatic as like a nod to Bart. Like a BMX biker jumping over your head, or something equally as impressive. Work on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about being a first-time father and surviving planning your beer fest?
Yeah,
That
right.
might be
I think that's
extreme
enough of a
right?
stunt. Yeah.
Yep.
But
I, strategically planned this for sure.
but that's really awesome. I think people will continue to invoke Bart's memory in the beer world and beyond at events like this and others, just because he touched so many people's lives in so many positive ways. And I think we all knew we were going to do this segment, and we kind of talked about it off the record. And Kevin was like, "I didn't want to cry, that's why I didn't bring it up yet." And
Yeah,
I feel like we're all getting a little choked up.
a little bit. I have to say, I wore my what is it, Captain Hops hoodie? What was it, Captain Hops Winter Warrior? Is that what the official name was?
Yeah, like the faded one.
The one that was like the Winter Soldier logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wore that hoodie to work a couple of days because it's a heavier hoodie and it fits really well. I love how like snug and warm it is. And I got a bunch of comments on it, a bunch of compliments. People love it. And I'm gonna wear it loud and proud as long as I can.
Yeah, Bart always pushed the limits and got away with a lot of designs that were parody.
Hey, it's fair use if it's parody.
Absolutely. He was, anything he could do to involve pop culture with the brewing industry and kind of meld those two worlds. He definitely did that. So
yeah, that's true. That is very true. But I'm very glad that you're able to still honor Bart with this, and not that any of us thought that you wouldn't, because obviously we all love the guy.
Oh yeah.
But it's great. I think that's wonderful, and I really hope that more people can do such things. I didn't know the Zembo Shrine was tied in with the Shriners Children's Hospital. That's cool. I had no idea.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Like when you walk into the facility, they have pictures of all their members in their like the Fez hats, and like just the whole Shriner, the whole Shriner lifestyle is all represented throughout the building. It's really cool. But I believe the logo for the children's hospital has the sword type John. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Did you say sword type John?
Yeah.
Okay, thought so.
I spent way too much time in Philly recently, so
yes. Try living here for.
I didn't even catch that he said John.
17 years. Fuck, it's been 17 years. Wow.
Yeah, you've been here a long time.
All
man.
right, I've been in Philly half my life. Fantastic.
Less than half your life. Thank you very much.
I'm 34.
Damn it. You're right.
Not 35 yet. Don't.
No,
age me
I
up
was
yet.
thinking you. Yeah, I was thinking you were like a year past.
Nope.
I got all over 29. That was it. Like you don't age past 29.
Oh yeah, totally.
No, people in their 20s are stupid. I don't want to be 29.
Wait, Kevin, are you in your 20s still?
No.
Okay, I thought so. All right.
Kevin's passed.
I'll be 32 in a month.
Oh, that's right. You're another May baby.
Yeah.
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 Kevin is younger than us, but older than Ethan. That's what I.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's just a wee
He's
lad.
younger than me?
He's 29.
Yeah, I think he's.
Didn't he
still
just say that? He was
yeah.
on the show recently.
Yeah.
I think it came up, and he said he was 29.
But he's been brewing since before he.
Yeah, I
could
feel like
legally
he's been
drink.
brewing for like 15 years.
Well, he started brewing when he was what, 17, 18?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
You don't got to be 21 to buy malt, Steph.
Yep. Words of wisdom from Ethan Buckman.
Or however he said it.
Yeah.
I don't know if those were
Yeah.
Something like that.
Hey, but he had a point. So, Kevin, for those out there who would like to find out more about Prototype and perhaps more about the event, where should they go?
So we primarily post on our socials. So Prototype Brewery and Meadery on Facebook, Prototype Brewery on Instagram. We recently joined on with Beerscovery, which is a Philly-based beer event app, which we've been posting a lot of our events on there. We're actually hosting 3 or 4 events leading up to the fest and one afterwards that we're going to primarily post through that app. It's going to be like a Florida brewery showcase at a bar in Harrisburg, and just highlighting breweries that are coming into town and sending beer for the fest. But then we also, you can purchase tickets at Eventbrite and another app called Osner. Those are our 2 ticketing.
And that's OZNR. I'm looking
Correct.
at the notes here. Prototype.oznr.com for that one.
Yep. And they've come a long way with like brewery memberships, bottle releases, festivals. A lot of breweries are using Osner as a platform for that. They're actually one of their guys is based out of York, Pennsylvania, so kind of local.
Cool.
So you kind of find information all on those sites, and yeah, just keep up with us there. We don't do that Twitter stuff and whatnot, so.
That's probably for the better. Twitter's
Yeah. More and more we
area.
come across breweries that just aren't on Twitter.
Yeah.
So can I follow your brewery on this app to know when you guys like post events on here? How does this work?
On Beerscovery?
Yeah.
Probably.
I had no idea this app even existed.
Yeah, it's Will from Dream State.
I just liked you.
Oh shit.
You can hit the little star and you like them. I don't know what that means, but
Steph is our first like ever. No, it's great. A lot of the bigger breweries are putting their fests and whatnot. Like I just opened Beerscovery, and Irie Jungle, which is Trippin' Animals Fest down in Florida, popped up as like an ad space of what's to come. But you can look at anything within 20 miles, 50 miles, whatever.
There's beer release information on here too when they're releasing beers.
I know Imprint's on there, Human Robot. I just looked at it a couple hours ago and I completely forget everything.
Voodoo, Vitamin C. This is actually really cool. Aslan's on here.
Ryan is based out of, he's either in Philly or like Wilmington. And then Will's down in Florida doing his thing. But like I said, we're going to do a bunch of events leading up to it. We're going to promote it primarily on Beerscovery. Just do breweries that are coming to the fest, highlighting their beer, and really just giving them an outlet to showcase what they can do outside of the fest in the Harrisburg area.
Cool.
And then
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I think Ken's going to do an event down at Memphis too. I'm trying to convince him to do something, but
Oh, there's Human Robot. Human Robot was my second like, if anybody cares.
I'm more concerned about your third like.
Well, I just came across Stoneface Brewing, which I haven't heard of before, which is in New Hampshire. And their font is definitely exactly the same as La Colombe.
There's only so many fonts in the world.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. You can make your own. I still don't really understand how that works, but yeah,
Da
you
font.
make your own. It's a thing. And for the uninitiated, if they want to find more about hopheads, where should
Oh,
they go?
the seed is going to be my third.
There we go.
Done.
Number 3. Lucky number 3.
Hopheads, again, socials. I believe it's Hopheads on Instagram, Hopheads Gear on Facebook, hopheadsgear.com. Those are going to be your kind of 3 primary spots to find updated there.
Cool. Yes, get on all of that, and seriously, buy tickets to the event. Buy Hophead stuff because all the
did we
merch is
mention the
amazing.
price of the tickets at all?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we. You said that, and I was like, I don't think we did. We should probably tell people what it costs.
I think I saw what DD is 15. General admission was 55. VIP 75.
Perfect.
Yes.
Cool. And believe it
I
or not,
think
I did not write that down. That is actually the only thing I'll ever get right off the top of my head.
Yeah. 15, 55, 75. Perfect.
Cool.
And well worth it.
Yeah, without a doubt. For those, limited edition tasting glasses.
And the live music.
And the live music.
I will autograph every single tasting glass that someone asks me to. So
it's been recorded.
You heard it here first.
What are you going to do if somebody, not us, walks up to you and says, Kevin, will you sign?
I will have to have a fucking Sharpie in my hat that I have
A gold Sharpie.
sign it.
Yeah, it's got to be a gold Sharpie.
Hold up. Nope. Damn it, I'm a liar. Oh,
we'll get you a gold Sharpie then.
No, I have one somewhere, just not on my desk.
You may need to buy.
So
a new
apparently,
one.
news to me. In order for a power cord to work, it has to be plugged in both ends.
I was going to say, there's no way you didn't plug in the charger.
I just got a low battery warning, and I'm like, it was plugged into my computer, but not the actual outlet.
Oh, wow.
Well, see, okay, there is a good excuse for this. I've officially retired my MacBook and switched to my Dell, which is like my normal everyday computer. But my MacBook was being used for the podcast. It just sat here, and I just opened it and turned it on, so I never plugged it in or anything. So this is all a new procedure. That's my excuse.
Steve Jobs just getting back at you for switching.
That's true.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, while you were out there looking at events, I had tickets for the event. You're out there looking at prototype stuff and Hophead stuff, of course. You can still follow along with the shenanigans on the Beer Buster side of things on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We are at Beer Busters. Facebook, we're Beer Busters Podcast. There's beerbusterspodcast.com, where you can add the ever so important addition of /shop. YouTube, we're Beer Busters Podcast. Patreon.com/BeerBusters. You get access to Last Call. You get behind the scenes feed. All the goodies. You know the drill. But I think, unfortunately, this does bring us to the end of another episode of Beer Busters. Kevin, thank you for joining us yet again. It's always a pleasure having you on, and we love talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Can't wait to see you at the event. I can't wait for it to finally happen. Long overdue, but it's going to be well worth it.
We're having a Dan Baker sighting.
This is news to me. No, I can't wait to be there. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait for the autograph signing.
Yeah.
I'll sign glasses too. Why the hell not? But like Kevin said, I am Dan Baker, and I am joined by my co-host and brewologist,
Steph Heffner.
and the demented and fermented
Wayne Baker.
Remember, rating review for all the podcasts you listen to. No squids were harmed this time.
Check out the amount of liquid in that robust bathroom facility.